Get down. Sir. Sir, get down. Get down. Get down. Mr. Cow. Mr. Cow, down. Sir. Get down. I have a cat on the back of my chair. Please get down. We're starting. Can you get down now? Come on. No, don't. Alright, we've got a cat. So, hello! It is art day. We are starting a new needle felt project that the one we were doing the reference sketch for yesterday that we have in the upper corner. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this off, transferring our sketch onto here. We're going to try. So our supplies today, we're going to need a pen or something that we can write on the felt with, our finger protectors, our needle. I'm using a small gauge needle. I don't know what the number gauge is on it because my toolkit only came with an S on the needle tube, so whatever small is. Some kind of ruler. Your fabric that you're using as your base. I'm using just a piece of 9x12 craft felt. It's whatever felt Joann Fabrics had. It's some kind of eco thing where it's partly made with recycled bottles or something. A size template if you don't want to measure out the size of your area. A felting mat of some description. We are currently using one from a Wool Buddy. I'm fairly happy with it. It's not sponsored. Fairly happy with it. It is keeping some of the fluff in there, but we are able to use a razor and kind of shave down some of it. I mean, some of it's just going to be in there. That's just the way it's going to be. But it seems to be holding up okay. We've not had it that long. I think we've done maybe one full project on it so far. Well, I've been working on another project off stream with it too, so it's okay. I'm much happier with this one than I was our previous one. So for right now, we are going to set our mat aside. Hopefully that doesn't fall, because I need to do this on a flat surface. Could you please get down? No. Come on, get down. Get down. He's being a brat today. Please get down. Let me put my ruler down there. Or my T-square, really. It's really too big. I kind of need a smaller one. I don't have a smaller one. Okay, so this is the backing off of an... See, this piece of felt is cut much different than the last one. I think that other one was a little small on the edges. Make sure our pen's working. So this is the backing off of an 8x10 picture frame. When we finish, it might not be 8x10 anymore. It might be a little under. So this is going to be approximately 8x10. And I say it might be a little under because I've noticed that with this, or at least with this base material that I'm using, it tends to not like shrink in the conventional sense, but like as I'm pulling the fibers in, it feels like everything just kind of gets a little bit smaller with pulling, you know, all in from different sides. But also sometimes I go off the edge of my guidelines here, because these are just guidelines that I try to stick to, but you know, fiber does what fiber does. And sometimes it's a little messy in the sense of I have a hard time drawing a straight line, let alone following a straight line. So it could just be 100% me. But sometimes I get a little wobbly. So when I go to cut our edges off to clean everything up at the end, sometimes it ends up coming in a little bit on the project. So it might not be right on, did I do this entire top edge? It might not be right on the money for 8x10, so it's approximately. Okay. So just tuck that back there for right now. Okay, so we tried sketching this out yesterday. Just by kind of looking at, oh, I also need scissors. I can't remember if I mentioned those. Well, we might need scissors. We may not need them today, but I would add them to your project list if you're gonna work on this entirely. So, we did work on sketching this out yesterday. And I had a bitch of a time drawing it out. I will say that. There was lots of erasing going on. I can't really erase with this, so, I mean, we can go over lines. The lines will not matter as we go because they're going to get covered up, so mistakes can happen. It's fine. What did Bob say? No mistakes, happy accidents. That pen on my hand is going to drive me crazy. So I'm trying to find, what did we say? We came down about a third. About a third. There we go. I had this flipped. Where do we think halfway is? Where would halfway be? Halfway would probably be, so I'm gonna say like a third up from the bottom maybe is where the bottom corner of our building sits. So maybe alright, the easy way to do this would be to, this thing is so long, I really need a smaller one. I don't know if they make them smaller, but I need a smaller one. About here would be halfway. So it doesn't help that I've got wired headphones. So if that's about halfway, up roughly. Let's see, where do we think about a third would sit? So this would be about a third of the way down. Trying to figure out how far down our sky is gonna come. So if this is about where our buildings, the base of our building is gonna be, so let's figure out our width here. Again, this can change. This is just kind of kind of a maybe. Sorry for my pen. Our flamingo. Crazy flamingo pen. Okay, so we kind of got that going there. I mean, this isn't that big of a creek. Approximately. This is our river. This is each bank. So if this is the bottom of our building, the top of our hill not really a hill. So I'm gonna do a halfway guideline here. Try to do a halfway guideline. So these lines on the edge, those don't matter for how we're going to display this. Now for displaying purposes, you could mat it and put it in a frame. You might have to go without glass. It depends on how deep of a frame you find on the back, because this does end up being a pretty thick boy by the time we're done. When I first started out doing them, I was like, oh no, we can frame it. And then I was like, oh, well, I didn't have any mats, so I couldn't show you a finished product. And when I just tried to slap it in the frame, sometimes our edges were a bit off, so then there was like a gap, because it wasn't quite 8 by 10 by the time we got done. So, that's why I was saying, you know, it might not be 100% that 8 by 10 size when you're done. So this is halfway. Okay. So this might not completely translate to how our sketch was, but we're trying. This is the top edge of our riverbank. That's going to be a little bit different. So midline is probably going to be alright. So then up here, so if this was 4, that means we've got 2 inches happening over here. I don't have enough space for this T-square. I think that's what's irking me the most at the moment. So we're not completely straight here. Okay. So this line, in theory, this looks crooked. It's gonna come over here. Okay. So I'm gonna put an M on that one just so I know that's our midpoint. Okay, so up here, so we've got some sky happening here. Our building, okay, so our building, so about here. Okay, so if this ends up being where the edge of our building sits. So his roof kind of peaks up into. Now, I might lower that a little bit. I don't know. I feel like maybe that should be just a little bit lower. Okay, so this is our back edge. No, this is our front edge. Front edge? Yeah, that's the front edge. Okay, so we use our piece of paper here because I have a little bit. Well, I can't see through it. Really need a smaller ruler. Okay, so this guy's got, his roof's not super steep. Got a little bit of a height on it, but it's not. You make yours how you want to do it, right? So this guy's gonna come up into the sky just a little bit. Did I bring that forward or was that straight? Oh, Nisey from yesterday, what did you do? We can't erase this. And I don't want to get confused. That might be a little steep. Okay. Oh well, we're winging it now. The building might not look the same. In which case, I apologize. Okay. Straight? No, it's at an angle. Oh, can we get the same angle as over here? Probably not, because it's me. Nope, I'm going to use the ruler for it, just because I know me. You know what? Let's go from this end. Might have an easier go of it. Except my boobs are in the way. Haha! Curse you, boobage. Alright. Oh, right. I needed to pin that. Okay, so if that's approximately approximately there-ish. Okay, let me pin that. Okay. So then we've got what's the oh, am I doing this wrong? Did it wrong. Okay. I did do it wrong. Ha ha ha. No, well, no. We did totally fuck it up. Okay. That's okay though. So this should actually be like about, well, no, it's kind of on the edge of the water. So yeah, I fucked up my lines. All right. Thought something looked funny. Okay, so if we take that to there. Damn it, D. I got confuzzled. Except I can't use an eraser to unconfuzzle. Maybe use like an ink pen that disappears like under heat or something. I don't normally draw buildings, you guys. Foobars are gonna happen. So this should really be in here. So we're gonna totally fuck up the angles on this. I do want that to be so like center. Okay, so that is slightly off, but that's okay. Ignore that piece. That'll get covered. Well, this will get covered eventually, but okay, so we're gonna take this back this way. See if we can try to, that's probably way too wide, but it's fine. We're ignoring this. It's fine. I wonder if I keep telling myself if it's fine. Like how many times until I believe it? Probably none. Okay, so I mean this is probably a little bit wide. A little bit wider than I was anticipating. Okay. It's fine. No mistakes. There are mistakes. But at least I realized what I was doing in this stage before we got too far along with it. So front side, side. Okay, so he's got like the smallest of like weird bump outs on this thing, and I don't really know why, but there's that. The spacing on it's a little off. We'll fix it. We'll fix it when we get there. So over here, there's a little bit of a how steep was this? It wasn't like super steep. Was it that tall? I don't think it was quite that tall. Actually, maybe it is that tall. Alright, so let's figure out where we want. Again, your building, you do it how you want to do it. Maybe you're a master of drawing buildings. I obviously am not. This building's a lot more elaborate than his other ones have been. I like you, T-Square. You're just... I need a smaller one. Not drastically smaller, but... maybe smaller than 18 inches, like 12 inches would be good. I don't know if they make 12-inch. So if we do it this way, that don't look quite. Mine's kind of going to the edge though. I don't really want it hanging off of the end of the building. But this piece did kind of extend out past the end of the building a little bit. Alright, fuck it. That'll be our actual end line. That's fine. Yeah, it is kind of cool. Okay. Alright. I'm not gonna bother putting the tree in. So So this guy, his angle is a little off. Just for how he's sitting in here. Back in here, we've kind of got I know our sketch is a mess, but nobody's really gonna see that. Okay. The shitty sketch will disappear as we go on, so no worries. First day is always the roughest as we get things penciled in and what have you. Okay. So this guy is going to, this is our outer edge. Again, I'm not good at drawing buildings or perspective, really. Okay, outer edge. Then we've got some lines will be happening in here. So then in here we've got that, and then we've got our inner edge, and then actually that should probably be like down to here. Alright, so whatever spooky doos you want to do to support your wheel. Coming off of our wheel. My pen's not being cooperative now. It still has ink, I know that much. So we've got like an army guy. How far over does he come? Maybe about to there. kind of got like a... Excuse you. Your tail is tapping me. Cow is still sitting on the back of my chair. It kind of has a little guy there. Okay. So there's like a little like weird kind of object here. I don't really understand the shape of it very much, but so there's one there. There's sort of another one that kind of butts up against this. It's kind of, well, yeah, that's kind of out in the water. I mean, this will change as he's going along and I can see what these are actually supposed to be. Because I will admit, I have not fully watched this tutorial. He's got another box thing there. Okay, and then we've got our sky, and so sky's gonna come to about here. So about on the edge of our roof line. It's gonna be the top of this. So this is like where our background trees are gonna come up at. So, hey Nee. Yeah, Nee? Why don't you like extend the line all the way across? That's a fabulous idea. Okay, sorry, sometimes I give myself shit for not doing the whole thing. It happens. Okay, we're just gonna kind of be like, alright, we'll go with that so we can get something done here today. Alright. Give me 1 second. I want to put the T-square away. Just so it's one less thing I have to deal with here. And I will tuck our size temp. Come on. Tuck our size temp away. Okay. Cat fur on my headphones. Alright, so as you can tell, my mat is not the same size as our piece. That is fine. Okay, so yesterday when we were doing our idea sketch, I think we decided that the sky was going to be a mixture of 3 different colors here. Don't know if we're going to get to all 3 colors today. So we decided on a mixture of cornflower from Big Twist Value, Ballet Pink from Paintbox Simply Chunky, and Blush Pink from Paintbox Simply Chunky. So let's get our tools set up here. So we've got our mat, we've got our base, we've got pen on us. Oh, that actually came off a lot easier than I was expecting. Okay, we have our finger protectors, finger coats, I don't know how you pronounce it. They're just like little faux leather thingies that just slip on your fingers. People will use them a lot of times when they're doing like the little figurines where you have to have it in your hands, you don't accidentally stab yourself. But my aim is not always the greatest. I don't have the best hand-eye coordination in the world, so I tend to use them while I'm doing this as well. Safety first, because these are very sharp. The little notches there we go, notches that are cut in there that grab the fluff that helps stab it through all the layers to weave it together. They're very sharp, and we don't want to go to the emergency room to have this removed. This is not a flat edge. My toolkit for this came with a handle. It's just a toolkit I got off of Amazon, just a needle felting toolkit. Came with a whole bunch of shit. There was like 3 vials of different sized needles. There was a multi-needle tool. I don't like using that one so much. It's heavy. It makes my hand super tired super quick. So they come like this. Some people you'll see don't have the handle and they'll just hold it by the little L knobby. That's okay, but I find that my hand, oh shit, don't lose that. I find that my hand gets crampy and tired in that position kind of quickly, so it's more comfortable. It feels a little more solid in the handle. And again, our mat is from Wool Buddy, not sponsored. I used another one that had like a sheep on the label. I don't remember who it was from. It's like 2 years ago now. It was okay, but like after, year and a half now. But after a little bit, it started to warp because I wasn't pulling my project up enough and had almost felted one of my projects to it. This is how we learned that we need to pull the project up every so often and move it around. Probably also helps with the wear on the mat as well. So this is just acrylic yarn fiber. I have a video at the beginning of the Nisey Needle Felts playlist on YouTube for how I've seen other people fluff the yarn and how I do it. So in case roving is just not in your budget, because roving can be a little expensive for my budget, for the amount of colors I would need. So if I go with yarn when I find it on sale, it's sort of a win-win here. Alright, so generally you kind of want to stay up and down. You can sort of go in on an angle sometimes, like if you're trying to move the fluff around. You can maneuver it a little bit coming in at an angle, but depending on the mat that you're using, coming in on an angle, you have a chance of warping your needles. So then you just kind of want to come in. I've seen some people say just to surface stab it, and that might be a better option. Like, don't go like full to the hilt on the needle, but you know, make sure you're going through your base fabric, so that way you can merge these two sets of fibery things together. We've tried the surface stabbing. I think the surface stabbing, where you're just like barely going through, oh, I did peel that up already. So surface stabbing, it's like gonna barely peek through on the back. Like, you'll have a little bit of peek through, but because I'm not using 100% wool felt, and I'm not using roving for, I mean, I have some roving, but it's not primarily our fiber that we use to do these. I find that the surface dabbing doesn't always work for me. It can kind of work, but it does take a hot minute. I'm just more comfortable going a little bit deeper than the surface dabbing. And it seems to work a little bit better for me, because we are using acrylic yarn. So acrylic yarn, from what I understand from things I've learned over reading, it doesn't like to necessarily stick to itself or to other, well yeah, stick to itself. So if you're using acrylic yarn to make the little figurine guys, you might need to have a small amount of roving as your core for it to grab onto. I've not really had a problem. It does take a little bit longer, that's all. I found that the acrylic yarn will take a little bit more fussing than the roving will, because of it not like naturally wanting to grab onto itself. But if you're allergic to wool and you still want to do this, you can do the acrylic yarn. Now I will tell you, the acrylic yarn does need some prep. Like I said earlier, we do have a video on the channel showing how to prep the yarn. It might work a little bit better with cards, hand cards, but I don't have any. So I don't know. I haven't tried it. It might turn into a tangled mess. But I don't know, hand cards might work if you're trying to blend a couple colors together to get a more even mix. And I do want to try the hand cards to do that eventually. I've seen some hand cards go for quite a bit of money for me. So I'll have to do some pricing on those. Alright, I'm gonna pop that up. So, I mean, you can see some of the, let me see if I can get up in here. So you can see a bit of the needle pokey holes. It happens, but that'll fade as you're working on your project. It'll blend in and won't be that noticeable. I'm just grabbing bits. I tend to work in smaller amounts just because then my hand and arm can take a break in between stabbing them. That's kind of a you preference. I know some people, if they're doing the roving, they grab just a big sheet and they're just working on a huge honking piece. You'll probably have less seams to deal with where colors are meeting. If you're going to work in the smaller bits, sometimes I roll it real tight in a little fiber snake. Sometimes I leave it a little bit more loosey-goosey. Kind of your preference. That's going to have to be a you discovery for how you are going to prefer to work with it. Now, how I've been displaying these lately, that I kind of like it because then I don't have to worry if the sides are a little off and stuff. I take a dowel rod, a half dowel rod, excuse me, and I glue the flat side to the top and to the bottom, and then we cut off the sides. So it's not the end of the world if I'm a little off on the top and bottom edge, because I mean we can cover any bars with the dowel rod, but I still do try to at least keep our edge line as much as I can. Sorry if my head's getting picked up in the camera. I'm not sure if it is. I don't think it is. Okay. Oh, we didn't advance the tutorial. I already started. Oh, Nee, what are you doing? Okay. So, I have the link to the tutorial. He started with the pink. I have the link to Bob's tutorial. He just like jumped right on in. Pinned in the chat. So if you want to see his tutorial in full, because I have it muted, I do have closed captions on it. I was just so excited to get started. I forgot all about advancing the tutorial. I'm a hot mess today. I'm tired. So he primes his with the liquid white. We have followed along with the oil painting before. And then he grabs some alizarin crimson, and then, oh, he's gonna go phthalo blue. Okay. And he kind of grabs the phthalo blue, and then he works that in from the edges. So then you have where these two meet. It's slightly, vaguely lilac-y, because it's picking up the blue. And he's gonna blend those two edges together. I just decided to go with the lighter pink into the darker pink because I wasn't really wanting a purple sky in there. Sir, could you please get off my chair? You're starting to annoy me. Either lay down or get down. Those are your options. He's like taking a bath on the back of my chair, and he's jiggling it all around. And he's normally not allowed to do that because of my neck. Because the slightest jiggle in the wrong way that I'm not prepared for can give me a world of problems later. With my neck being messed up. But no, I was just so excited. I just wanted to jump in here. So I decided to just change the colors a little bit. Now, the colors that he's using, you know, he can blend in with the liquid white and get like a multitude of shades and stuff. So alizarin crimson, he can get to look like the palest of baby pinks. So I kind of have to look at what the color ends up being after he's put it on the canvas, than what it looks like on his palette. It just saves a bit of heartache in the end to do it that way, I found. Because we've definitely grown our fluff stash, our yarn stash, since starting this. Oh my gosh, we're approaching 2 years that we've been working on this tutorial season. On this season 3. It's kind of embarrassing, but we did have to take some pauses in between, and we weren't working 2 days a week on the projects when we first started. When we first started out, we were only doing art 1 day a week. Although for the amount I've been able to do the art sessions for lately, it's kind of like we're still only doing it 1 day a week. Because we're not running the 4 to 6 hour sessions that we were doing previously. But we might be able to increase that time over winter, because I gotta adjust my sleep schedule at some point if we're gonna attempt to do farmers market, or if I'm gonna attempt to do farmers market in the spring, after I get some inventory put aside. We will see what happens, because I think I'd have to be there by like 6:37 to set up. And that's usually when I'm falling asleep, so I've got quite some adjustments to make here to my sleep schedule, but I think it might be a little bit easier to do come winter. I'm very much a late hours person. I was ruined by like, I always felt like so dumb when I worked you know, when I was in school, and then when I started working retail, and especially when I was merchandising, right, I had to be in at 9 a.m. to start, so that's what it's gonna look like on the back side. Fluffies coming through, so you can tell that it's gonna be a little bit of a thick guy there. But when I was doing 9 to 5s, when I was merchandising and stuff, it always felt so, this is gonna sound so stupid and so childish, but it always felt naughty staying up until like 2 even, or 1, working on something. But yeah, I'm like, oh, I've gotta go to bed, and I'm like, but then I started working overnights when I left the craft store and went to the casino, and that just completely ruined me. Like, I was like, yeah, I can do this. You know, I'd get tired, and some nights were really tough to get through, because a lot of times during the week, especially towards the end of me being there, it was really slow. Like, so slow that everybody was getting the paperwork done earlier in the day, and then I'm like, I don't have anything to do. I'm here in the off chance that someone needs something, or another casino calls looking for information about someone. So I worked in the in-house lines of credit department. So during the week, it got really super slow once, you know, the casinos started opening up in Philly and stuff. I'm not sure if New York got any, but it was definitely a lot slower. So towards the end of me being there, I was like, I've got to do something to stay awake. I was basically getting paid to sit there and read most of the night. I'm like, put some files away, grab some files, do some data entry into customers' computer files. I was doing return mail. So, like, if the casino sent offers out, you know, the little postcards that they'll send in the mail, oh, free gameplay, or you have a room comp available for these days, and stuff like that. The little postcards. So whatever got returned to sender, for whatever reason, I guess went to the mailroom in the casino, and then we got the return mail given to us, because we were one of the few departments that had computer access to customers' information, where we could edit it, where we could change a file, or change like the address in a file, or change their mail code. So I think the only other people that could do that might have been front desk, maybe, and they didn't have time to fuck with that. Like, the casino hosts, like, if you were a bit more of a VIP, and you had a host, like, I don't even think they could really touch it. Alright, so if we're gonna do, so he kind of takes that up, where's my sketch? So, alright, so we'll do this guy over here. But, yeah, so then I got used to being up all night even more. I don't know, I just feel like I can get more stuff done later at night. My anxiety-ridden mind is a little bit more at ease at that time of night. I've always had trouble sleeping. Always. Like, even in grade school and stuff, I couldn't sleep. Of course, come like 4 or 5 a.m., that's when I finally did fall asleep, so come 7:30, well, I guess, well, maybe more like 6:30, I didn't want to get up. I'm like, no, I'm too tired. The fuck is this shit? Go away. I've only been asleep for like 2 hours. Fuck off. So even now, it's so bad. And then I worked at Walmart overnight crew when they had overnight crew. I don't know if they've brought overnight crew back or not. Could you please get off my chair? My lower back is clenching so much in an attempt to restabilize the chair every time you move. Mr. Cow. I'm not quite sure why you're perched on my chair. Husband couldn't sleep last night because of his anxiety. This happens from time to time where he'll be up for like 24, 36 hours. Because he just can't settle enough to sleep. So I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that we had weather systems moving through yesterday, and then my mom also needed to go somewhere that he was going to take her to, so like just the fact that that was hanging over and had to be an early thing. His brain was just like, no. Okay, so I tend to overlap my colors. Well, my bits of fluff, really. Every new piece, it's not just specific colors or new colors, over the ones that were just laid down. Just so we don't have any odd seams showing up. Sometimes makes things a little bit easier. Oh, actually, hold on. I think the husband just messaged me. When did he message me? Oh, a few minutes ago. Okay. Sorry about that. Just kind of poking him and telling him he should probably get up soon. If he wants to have any chance of trying to sleep tonight. Mr. Cat can... Really? He's taking a nap now. He's not terribly heavy. Like, we have a couple cats that are a little bit heavier than him. But it's weight that I'm not used to being on the back of my chair. And it's really starting to hurt my back. But he seems like he's in a mood. Is that you? No. I heard movement. I thought he was in the pantry outside our room. It was a cat it's a different cat in a cardboard box. Hang on. I can't really fight with this cat. I can't really type in these stupid finger thingies either. And he's being most annoying. Okay. I tend to naturally go in on an angle, so I have to try to stop and remind myself, no. I'm gonna try to go up and down. It's not too much of an issue on this mat. When we were, depending on the surface you're felting into, it can be an issue. We felted into styrofoam, like craft foam. Jesus Christ. Somebody's peeling out somewhere. We live on a busy street. There's gonna be traffic noise. But that was the sound of someone making a very foolish decision. I thought we were gonna have the sound of cars hitting each other, which was kind of concerning because we have had a car hit the house before. Kind of where I'm sitting. I wasn't living here at the time. It was before the husband and I got married, but his mom had bought this place at that point. It happened while we were still in our long distance phase of our relationship. It always makes me a little nervous because then there was also an incident where a dump truck almost hit the house too, so. Took out our mailbox. Took out the neighbor's mailbox. Took out the telephone pole. I think the only thing that saved him from hitting the house or the gas meter was the fact that he woke up and jerked the wheel. Otherwise, the story could have had a much different ending. Pink. Yeah, okay, so we'll take a little bit more of our blue in through here. Oh, anyway, so we were needle felting into some craft foam styrofoam, the hard stuff, not like the dry foam stuff that's soft, or the wet foam that's soft. It was like the hard, crunchy, standard styrofoam, craft foam. Buddy, can you please get down? No, get down. Please get down. I don't wanna get the spray bottle. Can you please get down? I'm begging you. Go on, get down. Off. No. Go on. Go. I know, but you're killing me, buddy. Thank you. Oh, that's better. He's a stubborn brat. So when we were needle felting into that was a little scary. I think I broke at least one needle when we were doing that. I had another one. Oh, my other one bent when we were working on a creature for the husband because I was using armature wire instead of like pipe cleaners. And so the metal was a little bit thicker. And so when we were working on his 3D figurine, Sir Reginald Forktongue III should be on the needle felt playlist. I did glance off the metal several times. I don't think his start to finish is on there though, because I was having a hard time recording it because I was trying to work on it without him knowing about it. Which was really difficult to do because I could only really work on it when he went to bed. Or if he had a doctor's appointment or something and wasn't home. But I did bend I bent at least one needle. I think that needle eventually broke. I will say, if you are the type of person that gets right up in your project, like nose almost touching it, I would highly recommend that you wear safety glasses. Just in the off chance that a needle snaps on you. we've been using this needle a good while and it hasn't snapped. But there has been an incident or two where I was working on these guys, where the needle snapped and it flew, and the one like flew like right past my eye. Now I wear glasses, so it wasn't a big deal. But if you're gonna be like right up in there, I would say maybe think about it at the very least. If you sit back a little bit from your project, then you're probably fine. I wouldn't say it's definitely 100% required safety equipment, but maybe something to consider if you just want to be super safe. Okay. Now, if you have any spots that look like the color's a little thin, or you can see the color of your felt that you're using for your base poking through, don't panic, it's fine. Just go ahead and grab some more of whatever color that you're using or that's in that spot and just patch over top of it. It'll be okay. Not a huge deal. I will say I love the sound of this mat. I hate the sound of having a hard foam mat, because there's different mats you can go. Some people actually do this with styrofoam underneath of it, or craft foam underneath of it. I hate that noise. There's softer foam mats that you can get. For the cost though, I mean, your mats are gonna break down eventually, right? You'll have to replace them, depending on what they're made out of. Will probably determine how often you have to replace it, and you know how much use you're putting it through. It also depends. I've seen some people make mats out of like burlap and rice in the middle. You know, you just need some kind of softer texture for the needle to embed in while you're poking through your fibers, so it has somewhere to go, so it doesn't break, right? Because you can't like just do this on a hard surface because there's nowhere for the needle to go. It has to have a little bit of give to it. But I believe I've heard people say that the soft foam ones break down and need to be replaced more frequently, which makes sense. I mean, it does. We'll see how much time I get out of this mat. How much was this mat? Is this one $25, $30? I got it off Amazon. I really should set up an affiliate link with them, since I'm not doing M-Turk anymore. M-Turk was okay, but I'm not the fastest person. But then if you went too fast, they felt like you were a computer program trying to cheat the system and wouldn't let you pick up any more projects for a certain amount of time. And then if you like had any mistakes, Like if you had too many mistakes over a certain period of time, they wouldn't let you take any more jobs from that company, so. And I always got super upset when they're like, oh, you had a mistake here. I'm like, how did I have a mistake there? You're not showing me what my mistake was, so I know to not repeat that. Because some of it was transcribing receipts that were sent in. Like photos of receipts into a text format. But I never really, like, wasn't making bank or anything. Like, it would take me a couple of hours sometimes to make $10, depending on what they had available. Sometimes you would get photos. Those were the fun ones. Where you could like make $1 or 50 cents every so many photos for checking a box of what was in the photo and what wasn't in the photo. And some of it were photos from Amazon. From different items that were placed up for sale. Like, is this the appropriate category? And like, you'd have like a woman's dress or something tagged as something else entirely. It's like furniture, and it's like, no. Those were fun, but there weren't very many of them. And you're also competing against other people that are also doing it at the same time as you. And sometimes you had to take a test run for what a company was looking for before they'd let you actually do the thing for them. But Russell's like, stop doing that. I'm like, why? He goes, for the amount of time that you're putting into this, you could be working on something else and you're really not making any money off of it because you're not moving that fast. Like, he tried to do it and he got frustrated with it. He's like, fuck this. Because some of the stuff we really felt we did correctly, and they're telling us, nope. I'm like, then show me where the mistake is. Show me the mistake. Please. So that way I don't make it again. Obviously I didn't understand something in the instructions on that one. But I haven't done M-Turk in a few years. But at one point there was just a bunch of stuff up there that I either didn't qualify for or wasn't worth what they were paying for it. So I'm like, meh, to me at least. I kind of just started chilling out over here on this side. That's fine. So sometimes I'll go a little bit over the line and then stab where the line is. Like, I'll have the fluff laying over it. And then the needle can like pull it back into where it's supposed to be. I've had some better success with keeping our edge more straight, doing it that way. So I asked the husband to come get the cat. The cat has since jumped down. But either my message didn't go through, or he fell back asleep in the 2 minutes that it took me to message him. Okay, so by the way, he did finish editing re-editing episode 7's speed felt for me. I have to do a pass on it now and add in the audio, which I will probably be working on tonight. So that should be up soon, and I know we're a little behind on that, but I was trying to work on it. And for some reason, 7 was just taking me so long. Lately, I just have not had the attention span to sit there and do it. So he's trying to help me now, but he's like, yeah, I'm not pulling out everything. If it bothers you that much, you'll have to do that. And I'm like, well, this is what I need help with. So, we compromised. And, change the speed of it up a little bit. I don't even know what length this particular one's at, because at the speed I was originally doing them at, they were coming out to about 2.5 hours. He sped it up a little bit more, which was faster than I expected it to be watchable. So that was a little bit of a surprise. How far down does that pink come behind the... Okay, so we'll probably feather in a little bit of our light pink around this guy. So this is like really where you can start playing around with this, trying to figure out where you want your colors to be. It's not going to be an exact match to Bob's. It's just not. For me, it's not. I'm not capable of pulling off a terribly close one. But, you know, try to make it passable. The last one looked really good. The colors on the lighthouse one just popped and it looked fantastic. I know it took us a little while to get there. And could we have used a black piece of felt as our base and saved us some time putting the black fluff down? Yeah, we could have. Would it have looked the same? I don't know. I don't know if it still would have had that pop to it. It might not have. It might not have quite looked the same there. Alright, sorry, I was just making sure the husband wasn't in chat. He was almost done editing episode 8, but then I decided that the speed that he had put it at, the more I was looking at it, trying to do micro cuts on it, I'm like, no. It feels too jagged. It doesn't feel fluid. Because he sped it up before he started doing any edits on it. Whereas when I was doing it alone, I was doing the edit and then putting the speed change to it. So... with how he was doing it, it just... I think we found a happy middle ground, though. I hope, so I can get this episode 7 done. But since I changed my mind on the speed and wanted that adjusted, and told him he missed a lot of stuff that had to be cut because he wasn't fully... how he was scrolling through it, he wasn't seeing it. I'm like, you missed a lot of stuff that should have been cut out. I'm like, there's like some dead space here. You missed me taking the dog out. Like, all this shit gets cut out. He's like, yeah, I know. I'm like, yeah, but you missed it. He goes, I did? I was like, yeah. So, I think we've come to a happy middle ground. He'll start to re-edit the last needle felt project that we just wrapped up, the lighthouse one. Probably, he almost had it finished. He was just waiting on me to do the last 2 live streams, but then when I changed how I wanted the editing done, because I didn't overall in the end like what he had done on 7, now he has to redo it. So that's probably going to take him maybe a week, because there was a few more live streams on that one. Maybe 2 weeks. Then there were on 7. So for those who aren't sure what I'm talking about, when I do these live streams on these projects, right, they take a while. Depending on what time I start, what I've got going on that afternoon, if I even manage to do a session on the day I have art scheduled, you know, depending on if I have a migraine or not. And they can be a lot to sit through. I know this. When it's a slower medium for me to work with and the size that we're working in, considering we're trying to follow along with a Bob Ross tutorial, right, and trying to get it just right, where we're happy with it, it can take a little bit of time. So our lighthouse episode that we just wrapped up, I think that one had 16 or 17 live stream sessions, and those were about roughly on average 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I think we might have had a 3-hour session in there once or twice. I used to be able to stream for longer amounts of time per session, but life changed, and so now we have to do the shorter sessions. So when we get to the end of the project, I've started going back, grabbing all of the live streams, cutting out all of the times where I'm sitting here doing this with my hands or talking, or I had to get up to get something or take the dog out. So we cut out all of that, and then we speed it up to more of like a time-lapse thing. So that way, if somebody didn't want to sit through and watch the live streams, each one, or they missed one, and they just wanted to see like the end product, or seeing it put together all in one spot instead of having to switch video to video, we started doing that, or I started doing that. Just so there's like a more condensed version of it. So see, we're filling that in. The magic of fluff, right? We can just hide that shitty fuck up there with the pen line, because I got a little scattered and flipped around and forgot what I was trying to accomplish there. But we got it back on track, so it's all good. Hey, Well, I mean, Bob says there's no mistakes, but there are. It just, you know, it's not a total loss. I was thinking I was going to have to flip the damn thing over and work on the other side, and I was like, shit, I'm going to have to redraw all of this out. But, it's okay, because the fuck up made me see that my placement was off after I sat there and stared at it for a minute. I figured out what the hell was wrong. I like jumped a step in my brain. I was like, okay, well, we'll do this here, and then we'll do that there, and then this can be this corner point. And I forgot that I was using it as that particular reference point and tracing out, well, not really tracing out, but sketching out the building. We didn't trace anything except for our big shape here. I'm not against using guidelines and reference photos projected onto other stuff if you need really specific details. Sometimes you gotta. There's been a couple times where I've needed stuff to be real precise, especially on commission. So I had no qualms with loading that into one of my art programs, screenshot of the photo, and then grabbing our art pad and tracing over where I needed the shapes to be and what size they needed to be, just so I didn't fuck it up too bad. And then after that, it was time to transfer it onto the canvas that had to go on and then get painted in. I mean, I still had to paint it, so there's always a chance I was gonna fuck up the painting, but it didn't come out too bad, I don't think, and the person that the commission was for was pretty happy, and it was a pretty involved project. I probably should have charged a little bit more, but it was actually my first commission, so I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to pull it off, so I went a little under. But it was like a wagon team, so the horses, or no, they weren't horses, they were mules. They had a lot of rigging on them and straps and stuff. I was like, I'm never going to be able to paint all this in the correct spots. So that's why we did it that way, because I was like, oh, buddy. And, you know, it's something else I've done too. If I like elements from one reference photo and I like this from that reference photo, you can also kind of do that to merge them together if you're having trouble visualizing it. I mean, you still have to change it a little bit to make it your own. Depending on what you're doing, right? So okay, so sky's gonna come down to about here. I think his sky might be a little bit lower. Sorry, I was trying to find what reference I was working off of, because then I was suddenly unsure. I'm like, wait, here? Here. But, should be about here. So these lines kind of help me. I know some people would just go for it, and Bob doesn't sketch stuff out. And we did just go for it a couple times. When we first started following along, like I only did like the most basic of sketch outlines, but I have found that if I don't do a more laid out guideline system for me, So I'm just scraping the fibers that were on top here. Just to try to fill that out a little bit more. Surface scraping. If you stab in and go to scrape, you're gonna snap your needle in half. 2 seconds flat. But I found if I don't do a bit more detail on my sketch in process, I don't leave myself enough room as I get to the bottom. Like, I give myself too much space at the top. And then I'm trying to like squish everything in as we get closer to the bottom, and it doesn't work. Or I have to leave stuff off because I got carried away. So this has been my solution to that. Man, we had all those nasty thunderstorms Saturday night into Sunday morning, right? And then the sun was out during when we were streaming yesterday, and I'm like, okay, cool. So the weather's kind of moved on. By the time I got done stream and got cleaned up and went to work on dinner, I was in our kitchen. I'm like, it's fucking dark in here. What time is it? It can't be that late. Like, I don't think I really fell down any rabbit holes between the time we got done stream and me coming out here. Like, I don't think I got lost looking at anything. And cleaning up certainly didn't take that long from yesterday because we were just doing a colored pencil sketch. And I'm like, is it raining again? And the husband's like, I don't know. And then I'm standing there in the kitchen and I'm like, I yelled to him. I said, hey, come here. Because I kept hearing a noise. He goes, what? I said, what is that noise? I said, is that thunder? Because as far as I knew, the storms were done. Right? He goes, I don't know. He goes, it's like it just kept going. So I was beginning to think maybe it was just like really bassy music that somebody was playing outside, because there's a car wash a couple doors down where people will just be like blasting music out their car doors while they're detailing their vehicles after washing it and stuff. Or we'll just get like people sitting at somebody's house on the next street over, like on the corner, and their music will just be blasting. And I'm like, what is that? And he's like, I'm not sure. And then we did hear it thunder. He goes, oh no, that was thunder. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I went in the bedroom and I brought up the radar and I was like, god damn it, we're under special weather statement. He goes, we are? It's like, yeah. For like 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts and penny-size hail, and I no sooner got, or pea-size hail, and I no sooner got done reading it and the wind kicked up and I'm like, oh, okay. So it rumbled for a bit while I was making dinner. I was like, okay, you gonna stop anytime soon, or what's your deal? And it just kind of kept going and going and going. I've got a little bit of a thin spot right there. I just want to put a little bit of a patch over. I wasn't quite happy with how that spot looked. It probably wouldn't have been an issue because we've got stuff coming in over top of it, but it's gonna bug me until the stuff goes in over top of it. So, and I don't know what's gonna peek through, so let's just fix this now. Where's my reference photo? I mean, this section will probably be covered anyway by other colors. It only takes a minute to adjust that. So we're gonna have our lighter pink kind of hedging in over here. Oh. Okay. I'm like, what the fuck's with the weird sounding vehicles outside? School let out. And apparently the street that we live, like the corner that we live one house over on, is like a main school coming and going drop off access point. So traffic is probably going to be a little bit obnoxious for a little bit. Sorry. Not much I can do about that. This house is very old and seems to have not been soundproofed properly or insulated properly. So I think it was built either... I've seen two different possible build dates, so I'm not sure which one's more accurate. But I've seen a build date of 1921 and I've seen a build date of 1926. I'm really not sure which one is more accurate. It's hard to tell. Because it seems like this house has been added onto over the years. I feel like this was like a one-room shack at one point. And it just kept having stuff tacked on and tacked on and tacked on. But at the same time, I'm not so certain of that because of how the foundation is. Foundation seems a lot newer than that. Like the foundation's on cinder block, so I'm like, unless they had to jack the house up at one point and put in the cinder block. So I really don't know how accurate the build dates are on this. I do question that build date that I saw. Alright. That side wants to really attach. So make sure that you are popping up periodically off of your surface. And the maker of this mat said to, you know, try not to stay in one spot too long. Like, move around. It's kind of hard for us to, quote unquote, move around, so I'm just going to flip the pad orientation here. Just to kind of force us into a different corner while we can still be in camera view. See, we covered up that foobar pretty well there. So I guess it wasn't entirely a foobar, it was a baby foobar, I suppose. I will be doing a bonus Planet Zoo stream at some point this week. I don't know if it's gonna be tonight. If it is tonight, it won't be till like after 8 or 9 p.m. Excuse me. Allergies. Wow. Okay. My goodness. I took some allergy medicine before we started. Not a shit ton, but it did take a little bit. taking a full dose fucks me up. And I just become a completely hot mess. Alright, we might need to add a small patch here and a small patch here. I did have, like, you can really use whatever base color felt you want. Do keep in mind though that the edges are gonna be visible of your base color, so if that's gonna be a problem for you, just something to keep in mind. I am almost out of gray, like this like neutral toned gray, so I might have to come on voice, we got a little bit further to go. Oh my goodness. I might have to pick up some more gray felt here soon. I don't know, maybe we don't need to patch that now, because now I lost it. Oh wait, it might have been right about there. So he didn't really do any fluffy clouds as far as I could tell in this one. He kind of just went with a more basic sky. Okay, I see it now. Okay, so I'm just gonna make a little bit of a fiber snake, kind of like clay snakes. When you were younger. Or maybe not when you were younger, maybe you do pottery. And you know what I'm talking about. Right off the bat. I don't do pottery. I think I would love to though. I get weird when my hands get messy now. Like, paint, I accept it. Depending on the paint. And I know pottery wheel would be like really gone in there, but maybe not pottery, maybe more like ceramics. And like painting the stuff that comes out of the molds. I think I would like that. I remember making, that would require having a kiln that I don't have, or space to put a kiln, which I don't have. So it would require a little bit more financial freedom in order to be able to do that. But I remember being in grade school in one art class, they had us making these like tiki tribal mask things. And I do remember having fun with that. But that was also with clay. But we still had to fire it and use like the ceramic paints and stuff. But Russell and I have talked, and if we ever had the money, we would totally open an art studio in town, or like an art store where you could come and paint your own pottery, and then we would fire it for you, because there's not a whole lot to do in this town. There's like people that come antiquing and stuff. It's a big antique town. But I would love to have one of the storefronts on Main Street and just, you know, have tables, like long ass tables set up. And holy Christ, voice, could we not? And just have like one of those things where you can, you know, come in, grab a piece that's already done, off the shelf. And like you buy the piece unfinished and then, you know, you can sit down and paint it and then we'll fire it. When it's done being painted. I think we would do well. But that takes money to do, so definitely on the if we ever had a huge amount of disposable income, which probably won't happen. But I'm not sure if there's any of those kinds of places in Fayetteville, which surprises me. I'm actually surprised by, like, we'll see a couple of shops, of shop locations that, they're kind of in an odd location, right? So it'll be just like stretches and stretches of woods, and then, you know, you'll hit a couple of like metal-sided buildings. That would probably, you know, the building location is probably okay, but the shop that people are choosing to put in there baffles me. Like, there is so many effing vape shops around here. I don't know how they all stay in business, number one. It seems like every 20, 30 feet, you're like falling over a vape shop in some sections. Number two, like, there'll be, like, this one location had a wig store in it. But it wasn't in a shopping center. It was just kind of there along the side of the road where there really weren't any other businesses. I think the business next door to it was maybe a either a beauty supply or a nail supply. I don't think it was actually a nail salon. I think it was more of like a supply place, not a come in and get stuff done place. And it just didn't, like, the two kind of made sense to be next to each other, but it didn't make sense to be in that location necessarily because there's no traffic there. I mean, you get traffic going by, but I don't know how many people actually noticed that it was there. Like, that kind of thing feels like it would have been better off either in a section that was closer to the college, university, or more in like a shopping center location where people get out of their cars and they can notice places, you know? So the wig store closed and a dental office moved in there, and there was a fuck ton of cars in there, and I'm like, okay, well, dental office, you know, they're providing a service that a lot of people are going to need, right? Like a medical service. So that kind of makes sense. We'll see how long they last in that location, though. Because their parking lot's kind of small, and I wasn't sure if that was just the cars from the workers or if that was actually people going to that dental office. We will see. Now, our downtown is kind of slow. There's not a whole ton of people going through there. I mean, you'll get people like on antique weekends and it'll be busy and stuff, and when there's like events going on. But some of the shops, like, I don't know how they're still open. Some of them have changed storefronts a few times. We're a little over our line here. But there was a quilting store. A lot of people around here do quilting and stuff, but it never looked like there was anybody in there that I could tell. And I felt bad, and I'm like, we need an art store, like either art supplies or something. So I feel like we could maybe do something with that or a laundromat. There's no laundromat in this town. You have to either go to the next town over in either direction to find one. What time is it? Okay. Alright, let's peel up there. So we haven't gotten too far today, but it also took us about 40 minutes to get our sketch done, our guidelines put in, because I fucked up on the building, which I was really nervous that I was gonna do, and we did. I'm like one of those people that can draw something and have it come out great the first time I attempt it, and then the second time I try to replicate it, it's like, no son, what is this? This ain't it. Like, what the fuck is this? It'll look nothing like the first one, which is really fucking frustrating. Although I don't think we came out too bad. It's a little bit bigger than our test sketch, which, you know, I knew that was gonna be. We're working on a little bit bigger of an area here. But we did start to get our sky down. We did touch fluff today, so that's something. Although I'm not happy with how this is seaming right here, so we're gonna have to patch that guy. So yeah, if you're not happy with how bits of fiber are laying in against each other, just slap another bit of fiber over top of it. It'll be fine. It'll sort itself eventually. But I recommend, if you're not happy with it now, fix it now. Instead of being, I don't know, and not loving it, and then having to come back and fix a bigger issue later. It's just easier to deal with it now. That was probably a little chunky. We'll see how this looks. After we get it stabbed in here. Now, I'm sure I could probably use a multi-needle handle. I could probably get one that could hold 3. That might speed this up a little bit. But I think the weight of the 3 needle might be a little heavy for such repetitive movement, like over a large amount. I think my arm's actually getting tired from this set. Just gonna brush the back of that a little bit. Make sure that we're still laying flat. You don't have to do that part, but I've found over time, if I start having to lay in a bit of fluff in one area, it can kind of create, like, a lot of fluff in one area. It can kind of create a little bit of a divot between where the two fluffs meet, And then I've got like a valley kind of going. And I don't necessarily want that. So I've found sometimes doing that kind of helps prevent that valley thingy from being too much of an issue. It's like we're gonna have a tree line coming in here covering most of, not most of it, but a fair amount of it. Actually, nope, 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 nope. Okay, I wasn't sure if I cut the top edge of that off. Actually, no, I didn't. I remember now. That tree goes all the way to the upper edge, so yeah, I probably didn't need to put that patch in there like that, but that's alright. At least I don't have it staring me in the face looking too weird. Okay. So we're gonna have our lighter pink coming in around in here, and then our darker pink's gonna fill in this section there. So I'm kind of, oh, come back here. Kind of trying to fill in the edges of where the blue and the lighter pink are gonna meet. We won't be getting to the pink today. I don't even think we're gonna finish the blue today. Alright, I started to say, I wasn't sure. We were gonna do a Planet Zoo stream this week, but at night, an extra one, so I can try to catch up to the husband. I don't know if that's gonna be tonight. I'm just not sure. So, keep an eye. It could be tonight. It could be tomorrow night. It won't be Thursday night. Husband has D&D on Thursday right now. If he continues with the group that he started playing with. He kind of went for the game because he wants to learn the system so he can try to DM in that system, but he hasn't played in it yet, so he's trying to get a feel for it. And the game looked like it had fell through because two of the players that the DM had picked up were kind of personality clashing with him, and he's like, you know what, I'll bow out. He's like, we've repeatedly tried to explain to this one person that that's not the setting that this game is, and they're hell-bent on it being that way. And somehow Russell and one of the other players got into a civil, friendly debate about something. I can't remember what the topic was, but it wasn't ill-natured or angry or anything, but the guy, like, got weird and was like, well, anybody that disagrees with my way of thinking at all is gonna be a problem. And I was like, okay. But then the DM's like, no, I'd rather have you and the other person instead of those two. So, so he is playing in it for now. It depends on how his patience goes for the other two players. So right now Thursday is off the table. We do Coral Island Thursday afternoon though, but Thursday night We tend to not do anything. I might try to do the Extra Planet Zoo stream tonight, though. What did Mr. Nisey get done? Because you passed out on him. He got his... He didn't end up putting in a bus stop, per se. Like, he didn't put in, like, a bus waiting area. He did put, like, buses in. He forgot to go and do the bus stop thingy before he started working on something else, so then he didn't have the room to do it. So he put his 2 buses in for his people spawner. He put in his entry building, his ticket building, which also is housing his bathroom and his information booth, and he started his garden. I don't know if he finished the garden park greenery area. I don't think he quite did. He still has to do his gondola station, so he got about as far as I was thinking he was going to. So I've got to catch up. And if I had really thought about it and had more time to think about it, I probably would have just done a river and a ferry boat entrance and did docks, but I'm not going to change it now. I'm going to keep going with the buses because I don't have time to change it. Changing it would require me to do a recording. Oh, can you transfer that to the hard drive?
Yep.
Thank you. And video editing is the bane of my existence. So... I'd rather not. Me putting together, I know the one video on the YouTube channel says, references Board Gamers Network and Meet My Totem. That was me. I changed the name of the channel. Meet My Totem was the original name of the YouTube channel. But putting together that WoW machinima for Just Dance made me hate video editing with a passion. Husband helped with it a bit on the special effects that I was having trouble figuring out.
Well, you also had trouble because we couldn't use the old video editing software either, and then that was also the time where Model Viewer stopped working for like a year.
No, I think we finished it right before Model Viewer, and then we were trying to do a new one, and that's when the video... I think we were trying to do one for Dynamite with gnomes, and I was starting to get the footage for it, and then Model Viewer took a shit, and I couldn't use that, and then the version of Sony Vegas where we're using changed or something, and my brain could not wrap around the changes to it, and I was just like, my brain shut down. I'm like, no, I can't do this. And so that's why there's only like 3 ever machinimas on the channel. There was Circus, which was the very first one we did. Just Dance was the second one we did. And then the third one was Christmas Tree, which was actually kind of just a fucking joke thing where we were just dicking around because we came across the song, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so raunchy for a Christmas song. And we couldn't help ourselves. We had to, and that was more like for our guildies at the time for when we were playing WoW. I really should probably put that on. I should probably put that on private. Actually, I may have. I'm not sure if Christmas Tree is still available or still public. I'm still getting views on the Just Dance one. That's like my top rated video with the most views on the channel still. I had so many people in the comments bitching me out though about why I didn't put in 2 specific races. And I'm like, does nobody pay attention to dates? Do they not? Because I had to explain this in multiple comments, mind you, that happened at different points in time, so people don't read comments, explaining why those 2 races were not there, because they didn't exist when we were making the video. That video took us like 9 months to make, because I didn't have much time to work on it. It was a long haul project. We were both working, we were both raiding at the time. We were working overnights. So I really only had like a couple of hours a week to work on it. In between playing, having my character raid ready, having the guild raid ready. Downtime. Just needing to not do a whole lot in our schedule and sleep. It's a little thin. My fluff, that one piece was a little smaller than I wanted it to be, so we'll just combine those 2. So our messy ass sketch. Husband missed me fucking up on it. But the video of his should be up on the YouTube channel now. It should oh my god, words. I'm tired. Let's try this again. Slow the thoughts down. The VOD of his video live stream session from Saturday night should still be available on the channel here. And I believe I posted it to YouTube right before I went live this afternoon. Sometimes my brain starts going too fast, or my mouth starts going too fast for my brain, and signals get crossed and words don't come out right. So I have to slow myself down and stop and reset the thoughts to try to get a coherent thought out. It happens sometimes. Apologize for it when it does. So we did our concept test sketch, whatever you want to call it, our reference sketch yesterday. And it didn't come out too bad. We got our colors, well, most of the colors figured out. I might tweak a couple of them a little bit with some of the roving colors I have. We'll have to see how things look as we progress. Well, we'll see how things go. So again, this big open space is being left open on purpose. Because we have some different colors that are going to hang out in there. So how are you doing today, Doug? Hope your week's getting off to a decent start. Oh yeah, I never finished the story about the thunderstorm. So it started to storm last night while I was making dinner. And it just sat there for like 3 or 4 hours. It just thundered constantly. I'm like, the fuck? It was so humid. We had such bad fog last night. It was wild. You're good? I'm alright. I'm hurting today. I'm very achy. I almost launched the cat off the back of my chair at one point because the cats know they're not supposed to sit on the back of my chair when I'm sitting in it, because they will move around and wobble and wiggle, and they'll like take a bath sitting up there. I'm like, no, you either have to sit down and lay down or you have to get off. and I really don't want you laying up there anyway while I'm sitting in here. Because they changed the weight of the chair, and then I'm like tensing my neck down my spine trying to rebalance the chair, and it can throw me into a migraine if they keep doing it too much, or it can throw my lower back out. And Cal was not wanting to take no for an answer earlier, and I definitely feel now that he was on the back of that chair earlier, so I didn't want to be a party pooper and completely kick him off, because he's the kind of cat where if you tell him no and you move him, he just jumps right back. I was trying to convince him to get down on his own. Eventually he did. I tried to get the husband to come get him, but he didn't see the message. I think he fell back asleep before he saw the message, and Cat eventually got down on his own. But aside from that, I'm alright. It's another day. Another day of waiting. But, we're doing kind of okay. So yeah, our fog was so bad last night. Like, it was like spooky dense. I'm like, man, that's the kind of fog that's kind of fun to walk in. But around here, because like traffic just stopped last night, I guess because it was Sunday night, I guess everybody turned into pumpkins around 10 last night, I guess. We stepped outside around 11:30 to go for a quick walk in the fog. It was so spooky out. It was like Halloween spooky. And then when I popped on Twitter, X, whatever the fuck it's calling itself now, I was scrolling through checking to see if I had any messages or anything. And I saw that one of the storm chasers that the Weather Channel employs was actually in Springdale, Arkansas this morning at like 7 a.m. looking at the fog and rush hour traffic, and I was like, oh damn. The area made the Weather Channel for the fucking fog. It would have been more fun to walk in it if there wasn't just such a creepy feeling last night. It kind of felt like we were the only two people around. It really felt apocalyptic. There was like a car maybe every 5 or 6 minutes, if that. And it was so quiet, except for the one dog that barked that sounded funny. And I'm like, what the fuck? And Russell's like, no, it's just a dog. I'm like, okay, because we do have coyotes in the area. But whenever they start their shenanigans, we're like, yeah, let's go home. I don't know what's happening, but let's go home. But, it was really felt like we were walking in a snowstorm. It was quiet. The sky was bright but dark from the fog diffusing the light. I still have my flashlight, but that's also for safety in case we see any critters. We almost walked face first into a skunk one night, so let's not. Really don't want to do that. Alright, I'm just kind of reflattening the back of this a little bit. I find it helps just with things laying a bit better. It's not something you necessarily have to do. Alright, what time is it? Okay, so we actually need to stop here. We should have enough glue. We need to stop here because I need to make dinner and I'm starving. I need to check on the husband because I have not seen him since he got up. Not really. So, that's where we're going to leave off today. I know we didn't get real far today. First day of a project, we tend to not get very far. especially when I'm trying to sketch in something I'm not very confident at sketching in. Like this. Uh-oh. I got... Really? I got that very secure. Uh-oh. Really? I can't get the fucking... Shit, I might need a pair of pliers.
You need me to pull it out?
I can't. It won't pop out.
That's not pliers.
Well, something just to...
Hold on.
I got it. I just couldn't get a grip on it.
Okay, I was just worried that you were going to cut into it too far.
It's only a tiny little mark. So, I just want to... That little stopper actually got stuck, or my hands are sweaty and I couldn't get a grip on it. Make sure that we tuck our pointy end into the handle so we don't stab anything or hurt ourselves. But yeah, so we might do the Planet Zoo bonus stream tonight. Make sure you have your notifications turned on here. So that way you'll know if we end up doing the bonus stream tonight, because I'm unsure yet. Depends on how I feel after dinner. If it's not tonight, then it might be tomorrow night. It kind of depends on what the boys have planned, although I can actually do it after the boys do their stuff, so... We'll see. We'll see. I never schedule the bonus streams because they're bonus streams, because I never know if I'm actually going to do them or not. It really depends on how I'm feeling. But, yeah, so we got this all sketched out half-assedly. My pen was also not being 100% cooperative either. But, we've covered up the one fuck up there for the most part. So, next Sunday we'll be working on this again. And we'll finish putting in our blue over here, and then we have to lay in our light pink on the edges of our blue, and then our blush, our darker pink, is going to fill in the darker sections up in here, but I'm going to use this just to kind of merge the two together a little bit, just so it's not quite such a hard line between this color and the blue. We'll see if that works out a bit. Don't know if it will. I know when he mixed these two together, they kind of took on like a lilac-y color, but I wasn't really feeling that for the sky, and I didn't want to bring in more purple to this when we're going to have purple coming in when we do our tree line that's going to come up into the sky here. He's got some like real simple, like just like straight down, like indication of tree shadow shape things, like a foothill type deal that he does. So that's where we stand on that. I will try to get the new speed felt up within a couple of days. I have to do one last editing pass on it and put in the audio, or the background music. Shouldn't take me too long, but if we do the bonus zoo stream tonight, then I probably won't work on that till tomorrow night. So that's where things stand at the moment. The next scheduled stream is going to be on Thursday for Coral Island. What the hell was that?
Might have been a little stretching.
Oh, okay. Where is she?
She's on the windowsill.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say that's the direction it came from. They're working on fixing some of the bugs. I did actually experience one of the crashes the other night in an off-stream game. I'm not sure what triggered it, but I did send the crash report. So I don't know. They're still working on getting all those bugs nailed down. I think some of them are going to be a little more involved to fix than others. But we'll get to that later. Friday, I didn't change it on the schedule yet, but Friday afternoon's solo Planet Zoo stream is getting moved to Friday evening. Because I'm going to be in the middle of cooking, and right in the middle of stream is when I'd have to probably finish prepping dinner. depending on what time it gets done. So I just don't want to be tied up with stream and having to cut and run on you guys to deal with that. So we'll just move Friday's afternoon stream to Friday evening. Probably to 7 or 8 or so, because I have to do dinner and eat, and then we have to do dessert and stuff. This is my mom's birthday dinner, so Saturday should be normal stream time for both of our Planet Zoo challenge zoos against each other. And then Sunday and Monday again we'll be back into art. So that's the upcoming schedule. The bonus Planet Zoo stream shoved in there somewhere. So yeah, that's the plan. Next Tuesday we're gonna try to go to the zoo. Let's get my mom out of the house on my dad's birthday. So fortunately that fell on a non-stream day, so I don't have to worry about fucking up stream schedule too much. That's where we stand right now. I need to go make dinner. I am starving. Hope you guys have a good evening. Maybe I'll see you again later tonight. Hopefully. I might have to have some tea available because my allergies are wreaking havoc with my voice right now. But, yeah, we'll see how things go. Maybe I'll see you later. Have your notifications turned on here so you don't miss it. And, have a good one.